Have we seen a potential turn up in the grain markets? Well, we're going to take a look at that and we'll take a look at some Forex here and we'll go from there. Hello, everyone. Futures Brizio here. It's about noontime on Thursday, June 11th. Hope everybody's having a great week and a great day. As always, make sure you smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Any questions or comments, leave them down below. And like I said, we're going to jump right in here. We're going to start with the grain markets, probably be most of our focus here. So, as you know, most of these markets have been in very steady downtrends. The one exception or outlier is soybean oil, but this is wheat, and this latest downtrend leg after this big uptrend started about a month ago, and you can see it's been very strong to the downside. We're starting to see a little bit of at least slowing down of that. You can see we had this big pullback here. We haven't had a pullback this major since this initial leg down that broke all this market structure. Um, and so this is the 4 hour chart, by the way. If we go to the hourly chart, you can see, this corrective pattern, what we think is just a corrective pattern, right? Higher highs, higher lows, moving averages trading, pulling underneath and supporting price. And then we tried to break through yesterday. We failed to go lower. Certainly didn't even come close to this old low. And then we today kind of bounced up and looks like it's trying to roll over and go down. So look, I'm not saying these downtrends are over. I'm saying there's at least being a little pause here in the market. So let's just keep going here. We'll look now at corn. And here's corn again. We had this recent pullback. This went through yesterday, early yesterday during the London session. And we did try to go down again, failed to come down to the old low. We just did not have that really aggressive downside pressure. It did come down, and then we started pulling back, and then we have this potential move down currently right now, okay, on the hourly chart. All right. And so let's look now. I did have a short earlier in soybeans that I closed. And again, we had this pullback here and then looks, price kind of very weak, movement down, small candles. You can see normally when this thing goes down, at least coming out of one of the zones, at least the first couple of candles are very impulsive, just showing that there's big money pushing the market lower. But if you look at this, and again, this goes from, yesterday morning through where we are right now. You see very, very small, low volume candles right here. Okay. I mean, it is trending down, but there is not a lot of selling action here. If you look at all these other times when price pulled back and the trend continued, you had very aggressive down moves and big candles coming out of these zones. And this, we've had 2 days now of very weak, small range candles. So, yes, the price is trying to go down right now. Let's see how it goes. Um, I probably should have held this trade, but I wasn't too sure, so I ended up closing it. Did take a small loss. It's the only trade I took today, and because of the time, I won't be taking any other ones. Okay, so we'll look at soybean meal now. Again, hourly chart right now, and you can see, we had this low put in on Tuesday, and now we've just been kind of chopping around, have not been able to break through here since then and just not really doing too much. Price, again, like the other markets, is trying to make a down move now. But you can see the moving averages here have actually squeezed together and are moving sideways. So beginning to suggest that we're at least in a short-term consolidation. Does it mean price is going to reverse and start going up? Am I telling you to buy? Absolutely not. Don't fight the downtrend. It is still intact. If we go out to a higher time frame here, I think the daily chart is still showing us plenty of downside. Here we've got the last 2 days, we've had blue candles, up, but very weak. You can see every time price tries to go higher or to rejects, you can see it very well on this daily chart. These two, the last 2 days today, and this is yesterday. And you can see price is just unable to break higher. And, looking to the left at least where price might get to, I mean, you can easily see some structure areas where price might try to run to. We've got like this area here, That was like previous lows. And then certainly we've got this down here. I tend to like to trade back to candle bodies, not wicks, because there's usually very little liquidity at these wicks. Um, so unless you're kind of trading your account manually, it can be hard to get out of these trades with a set take profit unless you're manually watching it at these levels. And in futures, you can pretty much do it. Just close the trade. You pretty much be okay. But if you set an automatic take profit, like at these lows and price gets down here, there might not be anybody here to take the other side of your trade, and you could have a liquidity issue, and you could very quickly bounce off those levels. So I like to be a little bit more conservative and target more of the candle bodies. So this would be another area down here. Okay, so again, we could just be taking a little breath here, a little pause, and we continue the downtrend. Um, but I just don't like these setups per se, because I don't like this sideways price action, and I don't like the moving averages kind of running together now, which just confirming the sideways price action. It's just telling you that the momentum is weak. There's not really any buying or selling going on in here right now. It's just this is more probably just retail noise, because there's no aggressive motion coming out. The last time we had that, again, was on Tuesday, where we had this new low put in. You can see very aggressive price action, one little break right here, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 candles, and all of them pretty strong bear candles, except for this one, which was just a little pause, and then we continue to push lower. And then yesterday we had, one kind of relatively good candle, but it just hit the low and bounced and closed. And now we're trying to go down again. And I wouldn't be surprised if this just kind of drifts lower and runs out of steam again down at these lows. And, that's it. So, and especially because of the time of day, I'm not interested in trading this. Okay. Soybean oil. Let's see what happens with soybean oil, right? I mean, this one's kind of just the opposite. It's been in a very aggressive uptrend. On the 4-hour chart, this downtrend on the 4-hour chart has been much shorter time period than what we see on the other grains. But if we go back to the day chart, we do have some very clear support market structure sitting down here. You can see price came down again. This was on Monday of this week, hit this low again and bounced. But again, this is maybe supports more of a bearish setup on soybean oil, because if you look, since then, we've had, 1, 2, 3 bullish days. Yes, bullish days, but look how small the candles are. They got wicks on both sides. This is not institutional buying, okay? This is just weak hands, probably a lot of retail buying. Everybody else sees this low and they buy off of here. Not saying that those, on shorter time frames, those are not good trades. They very well could have been. But just talking about overall larger picture of the market, this is not impressive. Where you can see when it hit this low here, I mean, look at these candles are much larger. They, closing more towards the high and just much larger ranges than these kind of 3 almost doji-like candles that we've had here. And even today's candle, even though it's bearish, is a very low volume candle. It's just not much going on. And so the question is, are we just going to eventually roll over and smash through this level and start trending lower? Well, I mean, that's what I'm watching for here. I would love to see this start to break lower, because I think if it gets through the support level, I mean, we got a lot of empty space here where price can make a nice run down. I mean, the first target would be at minimal, like back here or over here, just looking at obvious pullback areas where there might be some buyers, like in here and here, and that's a long way down. So, again, not saying that these downtrends are over, but certainly they're taking a pause. So I had this alert I had set, as you can see, I just moved it up. So back on the 1-hour chart, what I'd love to see is now this has become a swing low right here. Okay. It ran up and made this high about 2 hours ago. We smashed this high, and now look, it's basically swept liquidity above here. Probably tried to catch some breakout traders going above all these highs. You can see looking left, this level here, and it was previous support back here. And they close it up here. They get people to jump in. Now they've, try to trap them. Is that what's happening? We'll see. Um, Again, I don't expect we're going to see a lot more action here. We've only got about 2 hours till the close. But tomorrow or overnight, if we come down and we're able to take out this swing, then to me, that would be an excellent sign of resumption of the downtrend. For now, you have to respect this 1 hour trend, which is up despite the larger market, looking questionable. It doesn't mean that this is, not an uptrend. And we could come down here, form another, swing low, a higher low, and start going up again. But again, just looking at the higher time frames, especially the daily chart, and realizing that there's not a lot of momentum going up here right now. We had, two giant bearish days last week. This was on a week ago, June 4th, and this was last Friday. We had these two really big days that pushed price down, and the market did hit support here. But again, as I just said, not a lot of strong buying here. So I think we're in a little bit of a pause, if not a transitionary period, but certainly a pause period here on the markets. And if we just, look at the daily charts, they can give you a really good sign of what's going on. You can kind of ignore these moving averages are not really useful on the day chart as far as I'm concerned. I'm more interested in just looking at price action. They just happen to show on here. I think on the daily chart, if you're going to use moving averages, you probably need to find some shorter length ones that are going to be a little bit more responsive. So again, I'm not really, even though we do have this bearish crossover that happened right here, obviously this is a lagging indicator. Right here on Tuesday, we did have a bearish cross right here, which for moving average traders is a sell signal. Let's see if that plays out. I don't think we have any confirmation of that yet, because if we mark out that crossover right there, we jump to our shorter time frames. Let's go to the 1 hour again. You can see price, this was our crossover right in here that I drew on the daily. And you can see we have kept going up. This was Monday and today's Thursday, and we have just kept going up. But, now since yesterday, we've now broken back below the short time frame moving average. And it looks like maybe this was the swing. This was the high here. You can see a big rejection candle. And now we've broken lower. And so maybe this is going to be the rollover back to the downside. Okay. So I know I started out the video saying, is the downtrend, is the bear trend over on the grain markets? Yeah, kind of a little bit of a teaser, because I'm not necessarily sure that's the case. But we're in a little bit of a pause. But I do think that it's worth watching. And I'm going to just let the market do what it's going to do. Where would I like to see a potential setup forming here that I think there's really good potential? Well, again, looking at the daily chart, I think wheat, if this plays out and we can get back below these lows here, if this turns out to be, a lower high right here, and we break lower. Again, I'm not necessarily going to do anything today because it's just kind of too late in the session. But so wheat right there for a downtrend continuation. Corn, we already had that. That actually was on Tuesday. We are approaching this old low here, but certainly there's no kind of daily pullback area of any favor right now. Okay, soybeans, again, the entry really was on Wednesday. And I kind of got in late here, so not really too much. Again, looking at the daily chart, soybean meal is definitely a potential. We've got two little graveyard dojis on the daily chart. This one's really interesting, right? Big impulsive candles, like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 days of straight bearish daily from May 29th through this Tuesday. Every day bearish. And now we've had two tiny little dojis called graveyard dojis. They go up and they settle back. And yes, they're bullish because they're blue. They did close higher, but this is not big money buying. Okay. This is weak hands, retail institutions are not buying right here. Okay. At all. So, all right. And then soybean oil. I think this one, if this turns out to be a shift, this will be a really early signal. little bit more risky because it just in terms of the fact that we've been going up and we really haven't broken any structure. But is this right here? Is this our lower high that's going to eventually cause this thing, to break through here and start a new downtrend? I don't know. So again, um, wheat, soybean meal, and potentially soybean oil are the two that those three right now are the three that I'm the most keen on looking either for a bearish continuation or potential bearish, reversal, confirmation of a bearish reversal here. You know, for, kind of classic technical traders, looks like this could be a head and shoulders pattern, right? We've got the head here, right? And then we've got right shoulder where I just drew this arrow, and then our left shoulder is either, here or here, just somewhere on this side. So we got, left shoulder, head, right shoulder. So this looks like a head and shoulders pattern on the daily chart. And if we end up, again, confirming here and we get some break below like this swing, because this was on the hourly chart, our last swing low, I would treat anything below here as a confirmation, because you can see this uptrend correction was very well structured, right? It was put in higher highs, higher lows. Structure was being honored. And right now we have structure, on the 1 hour chart, we have the structure right here. Okay, structure is right there. Okay, on this hourly chart. So any clean break below here on the 1 hour chart, or better yet, even a 4 hour chart, because I like to see longer time frame closes, not 5 minute closes, because that can just be noise. But at least an hourly chart or better to see a close below the structure. That to me would probably lock in this head and shoulders. Okay. So I am still bearish, but I'm a little bit more hesitant. The market is at least taking a little breather here, and I don't want to get caught up in chop. I already took a losing trade today, which I probably should have held. It probably would have turned into at least a break even, but so be it. It was one contract. I think I lost $100. So I managed it out pretty quickly. So I'll keep the powder dry until tomorrow and see what happens. Okay. All right. So with that said, take a quick look at Forex. I need to get rid of all these drawings. We're going to go over to Forex. All right. I do have a couple of trades open right now. I always forget to drag. Hold on, guys. I got to drag this over from my other screen. Hold on 1 second. Okay. Sorry, guys. I always forget to do that. I have my funded trader screen off on another one just so I'm not looking at it all the time, because I don't need to really look at it every minute. I like to just look at Trading View. I don't trade Forex on my Trading View. I trade my futures on here. My futures prop firm is linked through Tradeovate on here, like a lot of them are. But I don't know if my Forex one is. They might be, but that's fine. I'd rather just trade that on their own platform and just keep it separate. So taking a look at that, you can see we've got 1, 2, 3, 4 positions open right now. 2 of them are in drawdown and 2 are in profit. So let's look at these 4 anyways, and that's Aussie Kiwi, which I've been holding for a while. It looks like maybe that is turning. I was hoping that this was just going to be a pullback. If we're on the 4-hour chart, you can see that we're seeing the New Zealand dollar weaken. Now the Aussie is continuing to weaken too, but now we're both with the indicator pointing down like this, both lines. To me, that's suggesting, what we're seeing here is usually that means that there's some indecision in the market. And sometimes the market can keep going down on this, because you can see even here, they were both angling down. The market continued to sell off. But now obviously we're seeing less weakness in the New Zealand, or more strength in the Aussie. You see the Aussie's kind of leveled off. And so we're seeing this push up. So I may end up just closing that, which will be unfortunate because it was in profit for a while. And then the other one is CAD Swiss long. So let's look at that one. We still have a lot of uncertainty about what's going on with Iran. President Trump is talking about kind of resuming the operation against them. And if that happens, which could be as early as today, well, he's already been had some strikes on them the last couple of days, then that's probably going to push oil prices up again. They were starting to stabilize, come down a little bit, not a lot, because I think the market's still very tentative on this, which they should be. But you can see the indicator has come right together. Okay, you can see they're just riding right on top of each other. Okay, which is a classic kind of consolidation pullback signal. All right, you can see on the 4 hour chart, we do have this low right here. My stop loss is below this support level. I'm probably going to hold it because I do think, unfortunately, we're going to see another rally in oil, especially if he follows through on his threats in terms of more escalation, which is unfortunate. But if that happens, that's probably going to push the CAD Swiss up. My stop loss again on this is at uh, 57, which again is yeah, it's just below all of these lows. So if it rolls over and goes down, here, it's going to take me out, then that's fine. But I'm going to hold it for now. This was, I do think that there's still some opportunity for this to break higher. The other thing, just from a technical standpoint, again, I talked about is this pair is, kind of range bound. It's not a very aggressive pair, anyways, but you can see it's relatively range bound. So it's not really one of my favorite pairs to trade, but I'm was kind of taking it not only on the signal here with the indicator, but just on the fact that I think oil prices unfortunately are poised to rebound and go back higher again, at least temporarily. So we could see another push up. Maybe we just get back to this old high. That still would be a nice run up. And we'll see what it does. Okay. So that's Canadian Swiss. And the other two are long the Aussie dollar and short the Kiwi yen. So let's take a look where we're at here. And let's zoom out on the Aussie dollar. We are running into, some potential liquidity. See this weird looking candle? This is a Sunday candle for sure. And we are running into a potential liquidity zone here. So on the 4 hour chart, you can see the candles are getting a little bit smaller and smaller range here as we drop lower. So I'm probably going to tighten down. I don't know if I'm going to exit this, but I'm going to probably tighten my take profit or my stop loss to maybe above these highs, maybe around 7. So like something like this, because right now my stop loss is at, let's see, it's at 70, 80. So let's like take this down to like 70. And that locks in $602 of profit. I'm at 657 right now. So at the very least, I've locked in a good amount of that profit. And you see I have a take profit at the 69 level. And that's probably based on one of these areas down here. Yeah, it's basically at this little pullback before this big move up. I don't know if it'll get there. This area where it's sitting right now could end up being trouble, but my take profit is sitting like basically back at this last pullback that happened back in April before this big move up. Okay. And then we have Kiwi yen, which is still going down. I'm short on that from yesterday. We had, let's see if we can pick it out. Yeah, here was the signal. I took it on yesterday, or actually, I think this might have been during the overnight last night. You can see the divergence on the 4 hour chart. But again, a lot of these yen pairs are kind of sideways right now. And so, maybe we'll get some more, but I think I have a take. Did I set a TP on this one? Let's see. I know it's a little hard to see my screen here. No, I don't have a TP set on this. So I probably will look to set a TP on this, probably around this 91, 90, probably right around 92. That would get us back down to the bottom of this range. So actually, let's do that now so you guys can see. This is just kind of how I do this. And it's just based on, technical level back around the bottom of this range. And again, I think that if we get escalation with Iran that we're probably going to see the yen strengthen, which should help get us towards that profit target because there'll be a little bit of probably risk off coming into the market, and that will cause the yen to strengthen. So let's see what happens with that. So we'll hold that. So those are our open positions right now. And I didn't really see much else today. I already went through all the pairs earlier. Um, Last night during Asian session, um, what did I have on here? I had CAD yen as potential. This was last night, by the way. And the CAD yen is like all the LE yen pairs, right? And it has gone down a little bit. But again, I didn't like these lows sitting down here, which you can see it's tapped right into these lows. And also, again, because of the potential bounce in oil prices, which should help the Canadian, I didn't feel comfortable taking that short. It probably would have been okay, but you can see it is getting hung up at these lows, and we'll see what happens with oil. So I did not take that one. Euro Kiwi. Well, we did have divergence, but this trade really was back on Tuesday. And you can see we've now come up to these old highs, and it looks like we're at least pulling back. So it was on my list. Not really sure why, because there was no news signal there I would have taken. Pound USD, they're both, we had a little bit of divergence come in here, during the overnight session. And you can see it did come down, but I'm already short the Aussie USD and a nice profit. And these are all going to go the same way. So again, this signal really didn't happen when I'd be on the charts anyways. And so I did not take that. Plus, again, I'm in the Aussie USD, which is I've been in a lot longer and it's a lot more in profit. And there's just no need for me to expose to more dollar risk, especially since this is an old signal. To be honest, this signal happened way back here on June 5th, and it's been going down ever since. So there's not really a new signal here. It's not textbook, so I didn't take it. And then New Zealand yen we did take. That's the only other one that I've got going right now. So that's it. So I haven't taken any other trades. I don't have anything else on my watch list. I'll take a look probably this afternoon just to see how we're doing and see whether there's anything worth looking at, maybe taking during the Asian session tonight, or at least put on the watch list. So, all right. So yeah, that's where we're at, guys. Hope that was helpful. Again, grain markets, maybe a little pause period before we start going down again. A couple of them look like really potentially setting up for down moves, at least technically. So for whatever that's worth, in particular, like I said, this head and shoulders on soybean oil, and then wheat being in a kind of a pause period, and soybean meal. So those three, let me turn on my little highlight. These are the three I'll be watching going into tonight and tomorrow. So in particular. All right. So I'm going to leave it there, guys. Make sure you smash that like button, subscribe to the channel. Any questions, comments, leave them down below. And I hope everybody has a great rest of the day, and I'll talk to you tomorrow.